Imagine walking alone in a dense forest, in the absolute silence of night, where each snap of a dry branch sounds like a whispering threat. In the world we live in, where science can explain almost everything, there are still secrets and mysteries that escape logic. Hidden in shadows in forests, mountains, and even in the depths of lakes are creatures that watch us from afar. Monsters that, for many, are merely legends. But what if these legends have roots in reality? Today, we're going to explore the most terrifying and unknown side of our planet, investigating monsters that still haunt entire communities to this day. Our first monster is one of the most well-known and studied creatures of modern folklore, a large, furry, silent figure that roams the forests of North America. Known as Bigfoot, this creature has been sighted by countless people who describe a nearly 10-foot-tall being covered in thick, dark hair with eyes that seem to glow in the darkness. Bigfoot walks with firm, heavy steps and is often described as a humanoid figure, emitting low, threatening sounds. There are even reports of giant footprints left on the ground in dense, remote forests, as if it's watching us from a distance. Many try to capture it in photos and videos, but the evidence is never clear enough, creating even more doubts and fascination. One night, in an isolated forest in Washington state, a group of campers heard heavy steps around their camp. When they turned on their flashlights, they saw a huge figure between the trees, watching them before vanishing into the darkness. For many, Bigfoot is a mythical creature, but for others, he's real, a rare species and possibly a distant relative of humans that survived evolution and continues to live in the shadows of the forest. Some even believe he has supernatural abilities, as if he can move between dimensions and appears only to those he chooses. Our next creature is the terrifying Chupacabra, which initially gained notoriety in Puerto Rico, but soon its sightings spread throughout parts of Latin America and even into the United States. The Chupacabra is known for attacking animals, leaving them dead and drained of blood. The creature is described in several ways, sometimes compared to a mutant dog with scaly skin and red eyes, or as a small bipedal being with sharp teeth and an eerie appearance. In a small village in Mexico, a farmer awoke one morning to find several of his goats dead, with mysterious puncture marks on their necks and completely drained of blood. He swore that the night before, he heard strange noises in the corral and saw a quick shadow that disappeared before he could understand what it was. Theories about the Chupacabra are as varied as they are disturbing. Some believe it to be the result of a genetic experiment gone wrong, a mutant animal that escaped from a lab. Others see the Chupacabra as a visitor from another planet, an alien creature that feeds on the blood of animals to survive. Some even think the Chupacabra is a type of supernatural predator that walks among us invisibly until it strikes. Whatever the explanation, the Chupacabra continues to spark fear and fascination among those living in the rural areas of the Americas. The Wendigo is a terrifying creature from North American indigenous mythology, known to roam the icy snow-covered forests during harsh winters. According to legend, the Wendigo is a presence that brings with it an insatiable hunger and an aura of death and destruction. It's described as a skeletal creature with pale skin and sunken eyes, seemingly emitting a supernatural cold around it. Its origins are deeply rooted in stories of extreme survival, where individuals isolated and starving in winter forests resorted to cannibalism to survive, and as a punishment, were transformed into Wendigos. A lumberjack once recounted that one night during a snowstorm, he heard whispers and heavy footsteps outside his cabin. When he looked through the window, he saw a skeletal, terrifying figure watching him before disappearing among the snow-covered trees. For some cultures, the Wendigo is more than a physical creature. It's a reflection of the darkest side of human nature, symbolizing greed, selfishness, and an endless hunger for power and control. However, reports of encounters with this figure in recent times raise a disturbing question. Is it just a legend? El Silbón is a dark spirit that haunts the rural areas of Venezuela and Colombia. His name, which means the whistler, is based on the belief that he announces his presence with an eerie whistle that can be heard from miles away. According to legend, El Silbón was once a young man cursed after committing a terrible crime against his own father. Now his spirit wanders the fields, carrying a sack of bones and whistling a haunting melody that strikes fear into anyone who hears it. A resident of a village in Venezuela recounted that one night he heard a distant whistle while walking down a deserted road. He quickened his pace, but the sound seemed to grow closer with each step. When he finally mustered the courage to look back, he saw a shadow lurking in the distance and ran as fast as he could to escape. In local culture, it's believed that if the whistle sounds close, he is far away. But if it sounds distant, then he is very near. Many villagers avoid walking alone at night, fearing they may cross paths with this vengeful spirit. In the depths of Scotland's most famous lake, Loch Ness, lies one of Europe's oldest and most fascinating mysteries. It's said that in the cold, dark waters of this lake lives a creature known as the Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie. Nessie's modern story began in the 1930s, when a couple walking near the lake described seeing a creature with a long neck emerge from the surface. Since then, the Loch Ness Monster has become a global obsession, with scientists, tourists, and mystery hunters still trying to capture proof of its existence. Recent sightings continue to fuel the mystery surrounding Nessie, and the theories about its origin are as vast as they are fascinating. Some believe Nessie to be a type of surviving dinosaur, a prehistoric creature that found refuge in Loch Ness and continues to live in hiding. Others suggest Nessie may be a supernatural manifestation, a spiritual entity connected to the lake that appears only to certain people. Whatever it may be, the Loch Ness Monster continues to fascinate generations of curious minds, raising questions that may never be answered. In the end, these real-world monsters are more than just frightening tales. They are reflections of our fears, our legends, and everything that we cannot explain. Perhaps they are mere creations of our collective imagination, symbols of the things we fear, and the darker parts of our own humanity. But what if, hidden somewhere, they truly exist, just waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves once more? If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring the dark world of mysterious creatures, don't miss our next video. Subscribe to the channel and get ready for more mysteries that defy logic and reality.